Last week, Trump fired 59 Tomahawk missiles at a Syrian airbase while eating chocolate cake. For him, where he striked was not as important as how delicious the cake was.
We're now having dessert, and we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen. We've just launched 59 missiles heading to Iraq.
Well, you headed to Syria?
Yes.
He took this as an opportunity to promote his brand, Mar-a-Lago cakes. And everyone praised the strike and called Trump presidential. Out of 47 major newspapers that ran editorials about the attack, the overwhelming majority was positive. Only one opposed. Only one. So what did Trump do almost immediately after?
A big development in the war on terror. The U.S. military dropping its largest non-nuclear bomb in Afghanistan.
And this is just in the Middle East, a region that the U.S. continuously meddles in and has been meddling in for the past couple decades. It's a flex. It's a terrifying show of force, demonstrating that Trump is more than willing to spend untold amounts of money and devastate regions just to try to win back the hearts and minds of Americans after his disastrous attempts at domestic policy and questionable relationship with Russia. And now it seems we've turned our sights on another villain of the world, North Korea.
Vice President Mike Pence arrived at the DMZ for one reason: to be visible to North Korea.
Let's be honest for a moment. North Korea is the fucking worst. We get that. But they're also really bad at being the worst. On a scale of worst at doing things they're supposed to be doing, if we assume their job is to be the villain of the world, they're right above Sean Spicer as press secretary, if we assume Sean Spicer's job is to be the press secretary. North Korea is always testing missiles that frequently fail. And at some point, the North Korean administration has to ask itself, what the fuck are we doing? Millions of people don't have access to basic things like electricity or food, and we're out here wasting money on missiles that implode. But they can keep displaying their glorious military all they want. They are, at very best, a nuisance, and not even a remotely significant threat in the South Asian Sea. Because while they do have nuclear weapons, it would be absolutely suicidal to use them, because the US would respond by turning Pyongyang into a giant black hole in the map. Now, the real issue here is that the Trump administration is willing to play nuclear brinksmanship with a tin pot dictator like Kim Jong-un, who's also famous for being the only other man on the planet with a worse haircut than Trump himself. It also doesn't help that they're both overgrown, thin-skinned man babies quick to take action. And now we're looking to put military action back on the table in the way we deal with North Korea, and that's terrifying.
We're going to abandon the failed policy of strategic patience.
Strategic patience is the policy we've adopted because we know North Korea currently presents zero actual threat to the US. And that's for a number of reasons, from shoddy engineering to US cyber warfare actively sabotaging their missile launches. And we also continuously respond to North Korean missile tests by conducting military exercises alongside South Korea in the region. And we actively demonstrate how readily we're available to strike back at any offensive move North Korea might take. Now, this policy in the past effectively kept North Korea at bay, and there's no reason why that shouldn't continue to be the case as long as our forces retain an overwhelming military superiority over North Korea. Now that, along with sanctions, has been the policy under recent administrations, and an escalation of tensions or preventative military action by the Trump White House could have terrible consequences.
It has been created a dangerous situation in which the summer nuclear war may break out at any moment.
If the crisis is no longer handled diplomatically, the real threat will be to South Korea. And my worry is that Donald Trump, now armed with the knowledge that Americans will like him more if he keeps bombing places, will absolutely be quick to throw South Korea under the bus and try to strong-arm a maniacal dictator with military action. And the price will, as always, be paid by civilians in both North Korea and South Korea. So I ask this of everyone, specifically the members of the media who praise Trump's military action. Think about the millions of Koreans potentially affected by the outcome the next time you call Trump presidential for unloading costly missiles on empty targets. I'm Hassan Piker. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at HassanDPiker and on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.